Hello again everybody and welcome back to Test Flight in the F-86 Sabre. And as this first little sortie begins to wind down, I'm going to continue with the high-speed taxi, get it up to the point where I'm ready to take off and then abort the takeoff just so that I get a feel for how it handles. And I'm going to taxi back into the chocks and shut the aircraft down. So this first part of this series was all about learning systems, and so far I think we've done that in spades. So from here on out, the procedures and the processes are going to get a little bit quicker, so next time I'll be able to get it up into the air and do some navigation and start to employ weapons. But for now, I need to wrap this one up by pressing on with the high-speed taxi, so let's go ahead and jump into the cockpit. Okay, and now we're ready to give this a shot. So, pre-flight engine check. And there's always more to the story, so let's run through this check. Okay, toe brakes are held. Throttle, 80% RPM. So I'm going to look down at my throttle. Going to advance it to 80%. Yeah, keep it coming. I don't want to do this too quickly. It's a thing with the F-86 where you don't want to chop the throttle. You know, you want to just use smooth controls on the throttle. Otherwise, you get into situations where you could have an engine flame out or really get an overheat going and damage the engine in either case. Okay, 80%, or close enough to not matter. Okay, emergency fuel switch on. This is going to be a check of a backup system to provide fuel. So in case my primary fuel pumps go down, or the primary fuel system for the engine goes down, I can go emergency fuel on. Okay, and wow, okay. Then, a throttle advanced cautiously to full open and check RPM. So I believe what I'm checking here is that it's just not going to run away on me, that I don't have adverse effects by going to the system, and that it's calibrated correctly, because I think what's actually happening here is that I think it's more of like a manual system, so that it's a little bit more closely, it's just strictly the throttle controlling it, as opposed to, I think it takes the governor out of the equation, is what I'm trying to get at. So let me advance this slowly to full and check my RPM. Okay, still advancing slowly. I can see my EGT coming up. Fuel flow, 4,000 pounds per minute. Or pounds per hour, not minute. That would be bad. Okay, 95%. Yeah, I think next time I can be a little bit more aggressive on it than this, but it's said cautiously, and yeah, for the first time around, yeah, I'm going to do it cautiously, you bet. Okay, I'm approaching max. Okay, 100. Okay, my throttle is at full, and I've got 100% RPM on the emergency fuel system. That sounds like a good RPM check to me. Okay, emergency fuel switch off. Okay, throttle, or, okay, transient back down, and then back up to full on normal fuel. And then emergency fuel switch back to on, observe recovery time, and stabilized RPM. Okay, back to on. That seems out of sequence to me, because I thought what I just saw there was the recovery time and the stabilizing of the RPM before, I mean, it's right when I went fuel switched off. Huh, I don't know. I'll double check and make sure this is correct and that I'm not misreading something, but okay, fuel switch off. Now I'm back on the normal fuel system, which is exactly where I want to be. I do not want to be on emergency fuel unless I can help it. Okay, throttle full open, I'm there. Engine instruments check. Okay, full throttle. I'm pegged on exhaust gas temperature, but I'm still within the limits. I'm right at 690. Good fuel flow. Oil pressure is within the green. I'm still kind of puzzled as to why it was pegged. I mean, technically, I guess it was within the red limit. I don't know, maybe for this engine, 0 psi, or just barely whatever that would be, 1 psi. I don't know, that might be good for idle. It probably is for idle. Yeah, I know now that I think about it, it is good for idle, because that's where the red tick is, and it was within that tick mark. Okay, I'll take that as good, and mystery solved on the engine oil. Okay, takeoff, throttle full open, brakes released, maintain directional control, maintain near level altitude until takeoff speed attained. So what I'm going to do is release I'm going to get up to about 70 knots. I'm going to extend my speed brakes, and I'm going to bring her to a stop. So let me stow my checklist, and I'll just roll around out to the end of the runway after that, taxi off the runway there, and run through the shutdown procedure. Okay, so throttle's full. Alright, here we go. Brakes release. Forgot nose wheel steering. Yeah, nose wheel gear steering engaged. That would help. Let me recenter it. Okay, looking good. Not looking good at all. That's a little bit squirrely. Okay, throttle in, speed brakes out. Yeah, directional control was not as good as I was expecting. We tried the brakes. Okay, good braking action. No tendency to pull in either direction, although I guess it was pulling a little bit to the right. I think that was the nose wheel steering effect, though. Okay, so that's going to take a little bit of getting used to. I mean, that's not bad. I think maintaining directional control down the runway is going to be priority number one, but it wasn't uncontrollable. That was what I was really worried about at that point. So I think the next attempt, when I actually do it on a full takeoff, will... Yeah, I think that'll go just fine. That'll work. Okay, so let me just continue to taxi, and I'll take it off the runway right up here, and I'm right back to my original starting location. Okay, I'll engage nose wheel steering. I'll put the brakes in a little bit more. Wow, that was weird. Okay, nose wheel steering again. Let me bring it on around. I kind of missed the actual taxiway there, but hey, this will work even better. Okay, and I'll just bring it out here, pick up my marshaller. And so we can turn this thing 90 degrees here fairly sharp. See just how much turning radius we can get. That's not bad. Yeah, it's not great either, but I mean, it is what it is. Okay, now the key here is to let the nose wheel steering straighten out, then disengage the nose wheel steering switch so that it's already lined up. Okay, so that's... Oh boy, that was a little bit shaky on the handling on my part, but hey, that's what we're here to do, is to figure this stuff out so that we don't actually crash the aircraft, which if you can't tell, I hate crashing aircraft and getting shot down or just... Yeah, I want to be sure that I'm not going to do anything that's really going to irritate me before I get into more complicated tasks. Okay, so I can skip ahead to stopping engine. So toe brakes hold, got that. Engine 65 to 70% for 2 minutes. So I'm gonna have to run this up. I'm not gonna wait the entire 2 minutes. I am kind of getting tired. Believe it or not, talking the entire time that you're doing something, concentrating on the flying, on the reading, commentating on it, I am going to be a quivering wreck after this one. This is like a marathon session. I've done longer, but yeah, not as much concentration as this one in a long time. Okay, now. Okay, after 2 minutes, throttle off. I think this is mainly just to... I'm not sure exactly what this is intended to do. I'll research this and see what the idea behind running it up to 60 to 70% for 2 minutes is. Something to do with either normalizing temperatures or possibly ensuring that no fuel gets pulled up in the fuel sumps or engine compartment or anywhere. So okay, I'll take that as 2 minutes elapsed. I'm going to pull it back to idle. And I'm going to go throttle off. I believe, if I had to guess, that's end. It is indeed end. Okay, throttle off, and it comes back into the inboard position. So that, at the very least, cuts off the fuel supply, main fuel supply to the engine. So that's a surefire way of killing your engine right there if you're out of other ideas. Okay, engine master switch off. Here's another surefire way of killing your engine. Okay, master switch off. Speed brake switch out. I believe I already left them out. Yeah, speed brakes are out, and I will leave them there because there's a lot of stuff up here in the speed brake compartment that the crew chiefs will need to have access to, just for the through-flight checks and servicing. Okay, next page. Battery starter switch off. And I think I'm missing some stuff here. I need to go ahead and kill all my comm nav equipment as well. So I'll go off on this. And I did verify incidentally that, I don't know if I mentioned it, but I did glance down and verify that my radio compass was correctly working. That was when I noticed that I was on the wrong runway because I misinterpreted this dial, however. Okay, so that's off. I'm going to turn off my command radio. I never did turn on any armament systems. I never turned on my gun sight. Okay, so I can just press on with the basic shutdown. Okay, I'm going to go battery switch off. This is going to remove power from everything. Okay, well, except for the stuff that's on the battery bus, like the mechanical control, and there's some other various systems around the aircraft that are just constantly on by virtue of being connected constantly to the battery. Okay, control stick cycle. The idea behind this is to bleed down hydraulic pressure so that it's not, you don't have constant pressure in the lines or in the reservoirs for, or I should say not the reservoirs, in the accumulators for the flight control system. So, oh, that is, wow, every now and then you see something that absolutely blows your mind, because you saw that when I started that flight control check they were moving. As I moved the stick around, they stopped. So, okay, hydraulic system bleed off and depletion of the accumulators for the flight control system is modeled. Oh my God, well done on the developer's part. I'm blown away. I mean, as if I wasn't already, but my God. Okay, flight control emergency override handle in. I never pulled it out to begin with, so that is in. Okay, before leaving airplane, safety pins installed, so I would safe up my seat, safe up my canopy. I will go ahead and open up the canopy, however. Drop tank selector switch, if I did have it in any other position, I would go back to all tanks off. Rudder gust lock handle, I would engage that just to keep the rudder from being knocked around. Main gear wheels chocked, and the crew chief would have already hooked me up with that. And I am ready to get out of the cockpit. You know, one other thing that I would always do, putting myself in the position of a pilot, or if you are a real-world pilot and you're listening, and well, you already know this, but it's always good form to leave the cockpit in the same shape that you found it. Like you went through that detailed procedure before of checking that everything was off, safe, and normal. Yeah, you want to leave it exactly as you found it and not have the crew chief come back behind you and have to throw switches because you left something on or left something in a position that it shouldn't have been in. So, yeah, just breezing around right now. Nothing's occurring to me that I need to reset, but that is a check that I would definitely do if I were a pilot, because I know how irritating it is to have to go back behind a pilot and reset everything in the cockpit. So my goodness, that was a bit of a marathon session. They're not always this long. The engine starts and taxis and shutdowns. That was the full procedure with the detailed procedure kind of mixed in there. Once you get the hang of this, you'll be able to get in the air in 4 or 5 minutes tops. And I think on the next mission, it's going to go a lot quicker for me because I'm learning the procedure. I mean, it's already getting a lot easier. I mean, I've just done it once, and I already have a good idea of what all's involved. So I think, you know, maybe not next mission, but mission after next, that's going to be about a 4 to 5 minutes. Hop in, run my checks, get in the air, and call it good. So I'm going to call this mission good right here and come back next time with the full takeoff and landing and just kind of fly around the airfield, maybe work in some navigation. See if there are any more options when it comes to navigation. I think really the radio compass is about all there is. So takeoff and landing is going to be the focus next time, and low-speed aircraft handling. Then we'll move on from there and get into some more advanced stuff and get into the weapons employment, which I'm sure a lot of you are looking forward to. But, I mean, keeping in mind that all this stuff is not something that I'm about to jump into. You know, that's defeating the entire purpose of this level of detailed simulation from my point of view, as a flight simmer who appreciates this level of detail. If you don't stop and smell the roses, if you just jump in and say, hey, I'm going to go drop bombs using these detailed systems, and if I jump in and have no idea how to use it, that's not fun to me. I'm just not going to do that. There's nothing wrong with it if you're going to do that yourself. I mean, go for it. But to me, until I know what I'm doing, I just don't get any enjoyment out of it. So that's why I do take my time, and that's why I do go through the details like this, and it's enjoyable. If you can't tell, I am enjoying this. This is what flight simming is all about for me. It may not be your cup of tea, but hey, everybody gets something out of everything that they do. People just go about things differently. So, okay, that's it for this mission. So, thanks again for watching. I will see you next time with the takeoff and landing. Thanks again.